second section of CAT, DILR. DILR stands for Data Interpretation and Logical Reasoning. In this video, we are going to cover everything that you need to know about DILR. That will include the paper pattern, the weightage of the section, the topics from which you can expect the questions to come from, how do you get started, the various books and other resources that you can refer to, from where can you solve the practice questions, the skill sets that are required for you to build, and how are you going to develop the skills. And at the end of the video, we are going to reveal a couple of tricks which you might have never heard of. So stay tuned and let's dive deep into it. So let's understand how important this section is. In CAT 2021, out of a total of 66 questions, 20 questions were asked from this section, which is close to 30%. In CAT 2020, there were a total of 24 questions from this section out of 76, which is 32%. And historically, the trend has been closer to 32%, but we have seen it fluctuate between 30 to 32%. So this is a very important section. Now, getting to the paper pattern, in CAT 2021, there were 4 sets which were asked from the section. There were 2 sets of 6 questions and 2 sets of 4 questions. In CAT 2020, there were a total of 5 sets. 2 sets of 6 questions, 3 sets of 4 questions. So let me give you a very little brief about what sets are. Basically, they'll give you a paragraph and a few statements and maybe figures and charts. And there'll be 4 to 6 questions related to that paragraph which you will need to answer. An example of the same could be, there are 6 friends, A, B, C, D, E, F, staying in different cities, liking different foods. Now, there might be a few statements like the person staying in city Mumbai doesn't like oranges. So there will be such statements which will be given, and through those statements, you need to figure out which friend stays in which city and likes which food. And there will be 4 to 6 questions related to that. So that is what sets are. Historically, there was an equal split between logical reasoning and data interpretation. However, we have noticed that in the recent few years, even in the data interpretation sets, there have been a lot of logical questions and logic involved. The reason might be attributed that since 2017 or so, they allowed you to use on-screen calculator. So you do not need to do a lot of heavy calculations yourself. You can always use that on-screen calculator. What are the topics that are asked in DILR? Initially, you can classify the sets amongst arrangement, selection, tournament, binary logic, truth and lies, optimization, visualization, and a few other conventional types. However, in actual CAT, you will notice most of the sets belong to unconventional area. Now, the question arises, if most of the sets are going to be from unconventional arena, what is the benefit of even getting started with the conventional ones? However, it's very important to understand and build the basics. To do that, you will need to follow the conventional route. How do you get started? My advice is pick up any book that you like, any book from the market, any book from any coaching provider, and just get started. Do not do it exhaustively, just do a few of the questions from each type of topics so that you get accustomed to all the conventional ones. Once you do that, then your actual learning begins. Your actual learnings are going to come from solving practice questions. Where do you solve these practice questions from? There could be various ways. 1. Mock test questions. So take up any mock test provider and do the entire section completely. 2. The actual CAT previous years. So you will find before 2008, so around 2004 to 8 plus 2017 to 2021. So you will find enough problems for you to solve. 3rd, previous year mock questions. So you will find previous year mock questions as well, and also unproctored mock questions of this year. So I believe these are the best ways to solve. The reason is everyone preserves their best questions for the mocks. So you get the best sets that are available. Plus, in most of these sets, you will find that a majority of those are from the unconventional arena. So that is going to help you build the base even better. What are the steps involved while solving a set? First, to select the correct set. Second, to represent the data correctly, which helps you in solving the question faster and more accurately. Third, actually solving the question. Now, how do you develop the skills? Let's start from the basics. How do you figure out which set to solve? One thing which helped me a lot was while attempting mocks, what I used to do is I used to take the initial few minutes to figure out my priority orders of which set to attempt first, which to attempt second, and so on. After solving the entire mock, I used to go back and check whether the order which I have mentioned was the correct one. How do you check that? Two ways. One, check the mock analytics. So in most mocks, you will find that there are two things. One, how many percent of people have attempted it. Two, the percent of people who have attempted who got it right. That will help you in comparing yourself with your peers. Second, and the more obvious way, is to see if you are more comfortable in solving the first one than the second one than the third one than the fourth, and so on. If you are not, try to find out reasons to do it. You're not going to build the skill in a week or a month. You will need time. You will need to do a lot of mocks for that. And during the fag end of your preparation, what you can do is use the unproctored mocks to just log in, spend 5 minutes on doing the prioritizing order, and then just exit and check for yourself. So that will help you in developing the first skill. The second skill, while solving the initial sets from the books and various other sources, focus on representing the data correctly. So you will learn this skill at the basic level. While solving mocks as well, go back during your analysis and see if there were any better ways through which you could have represented the data, even for sets which you got it correctly. Once you are able to do the first and the second step properly, the third one would be a derivation of the first two steps. Welcome to the most exciting segment of this video, where in the last we are going to reveal some tips. Before we do that, let us understand how do you ensure that the preparation remains interesting for you. You can complement your conventional methods of learning by incorporating a few puzzles. Those could be Sudoku, crossword, chess, Kakuro, or any other puzzles that you wish to solve. Maybe sit with your 4-year-old niece or nephew and see what puzzles they are solving. You can complement this with some puzzle books. My favorite ones were Shakuntala Devi and John Summers. So this ensures that the preparation is not boring. But ensure that you do not use this as an excuse to not go and do the conventional way of learning, because that's where the entire addition is going to come from. Now, what are some tips that we were going to give? I'm going to use two numbers now. Pause the video for a while and try to figure out what those two numbers signify. 14.28, 1001, which is 1001. So, 14.28 is basically 100 divided by 7. That also tells you that is 1 by 7%. So, why is this important? It's very important in CAT to figure out what their expectations are. So, in a lot of places, you will just see in the question there will be mentioned the shopkeeper's profit margin is 14.28%. Why that specific number? Because they want you to know 14.28% is 1 by 7. How do you develop those? It's basically with practice, those are the skills that you will develop. But then you need to be consciously aware that you need to build those. So you should know what 1 by 1 is, what 1 by 2 is, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, right from 1 by 1 to 1 by 20. Those are something which you should be very well aware of. You should also be aware of all the tables from 1 to 20. All these squares from 1 to 20, it helps if you know from 1 to 30 or 1 to 40. all the cubes from 1 to 10 at least. Obviously it helps if you know from 1 to 20. Now what is 1001? So that is something which will come at a later stage. Once you are fairly comfortable with mocks, you will figure out 1001 is the product of 3 high prime numbers. Can you try to figure that out? Those are, first, I'll also tell you how to figure that out. 1001 is basically odd numbers. The sum of odd numbers are equal to sum of even numbers. So 1 plus 0 is equal to 1 plus 0. You should know that a divisibility rule of 11 is the sum of odd numbers minus sum of even numbers should be 0 or a multiple of 11. So here we know one of the product is 11. Once you divide it by 11, you will figure out 91 is remaining. So 91, if you know your tables, you know that is 7 into 13. So if you are fairly comfortable with what we have just discussed, these things should be a cakewalk for you, and that would really help in ensuring that you have more time than the others, because you're not going to spend time figuring out what 14.28 is, right? So all the best and see you in the next video.